Welcome back to my 300B video series, and today we're going to be powering up the amplifier for the first time as far as checking the heater voltages and making sure that all that wiring is done correctly so we can finish up the cathode wiring and get this thing up and running. So, I would love to see you watch my safety video on working on high voltage equipment. It can't be said enough times that there are lethal voltages inside these amplifiers that can kill you. So please be safe out there, guys, if you're working on a project like this. I'm going to go over real quick first the equipment that I use for testing devices on my bench. The first thing that you really do need to get is a Variac. This is a little made in China $100 one that's off Amazon, and it's a 500 volt amp unit, which should be plenty for any tube amplifier that I would ever work on. The thing to note though about these made in China ones is they have the inputs 110 volts, 50 to 60 hertz. So the hertz parts is right, but the voltage is wrong. It'll still work plugged into 120 volts, but all these numbers on the top of it are going to be wrong, as is the little meter that's on the front. I mainly look at these numbers that are on the top. So to have these work correctly in the US, you need to get and wire up a 12 volt 4 amp transformer in a bucking configuration. And I've talked about this in another money monologue about how to get these made in China products to operate on 120 volts correctly. There's also websites. I'll link one in the description that explains what a bucking transformer is and how to wire one up. So first thing in my loop is the bucking transformer to get the voltage to 110 volts. Then the Variac is plugged into that. And this allows us to vary the voltage from 0 or very close to 0 up to 130 volts if we needed to. So this is just super useful. You really need to pick one of these up. The next thing in the line is this one-to-one isolation transformer. Again, this was a little guy that I picked up on Amazon. What this does is it decouples and isolates the grounded neutral leg of the AC from the output. So the output, which is a 2-wire plug, is totally floating with no reference to earth ground. This improves the safety of you working on this type of equipment, and it also protects things like your oscilloscope from you making a mistake and getting a ground hooked up wrong and exploding your expensive oscilloscope. So another great to have item. These aren't absolutely necessary, but I would pick one up. The last thing in the loop is my dim bulb, and this is simply a 200 watt incandescent bulb. It can't be compact fluorescent or LED. It's got to be incandescent. And what this does is acts as a current limiter in case there's a short inside the amplifier. I really only use this dim bulb when I'm first powering up the amplifier, and once I'm sure there's no shorts inside it, which you will instantly see because the bulb will glow, full bright, I take it out of the circuit because it does act as a current limiter, and once you put all the tubes in and are pulling some serious current through the tubes in the amplifier, the voltage drop across this dim bulb will affect the voltages that you're reading inside the amplifier. So again, that's a protection device for when you first power the amp up, but once you've got everything running and it looks okay, I take that out of the system so I can correctly measure the voltages. So, going to spin the camera around and we're going to look inside the amp and start measuring voltages. Okay, as you can see, we have our digital voltmeter, and the first thing we're going to do is check for AC coming into the amplifier and make sure that our Variac readings are accurate. So we turn the Variac on, and the Negative is clipped onto one of the neutral of the AC. The other thing is never work inside the amplifier with two hands. You want to use a clip on one side and then use the probe with the other. Keep the other hand behind your back, and that will ensure that if you do get shocked, it doesn't go through your heart and make your heart stop. So we're going to turn the variac up to about 40 volts. And as you can see, we got 39 volts. So the readings that we're getting off the variac are accurate. At this point, we're going to turn the variac off. We're going to move this lead over here to one of our 6.3 volt wires that are going to the 6S and 7 heaters. And then we're going to turn the variac back on. Start bring the voltage up to about 65 volts. And turn the power on. And there's 4.2 volts. And as we turn the variac up, there's about 110 volts. And there's 120. And so you're going, wow, there's 7.4 volts at 120 coming in. Well, there's no load on these heaters yet because the tubes aren't plugged in. So to really test these windings, we need to put some 6S and 7 tubes into the sockets and put a load on the transformer and then see what our voltage is. So I'm going to turn the variac back off. We're going to plug in a couple of 6S and 7 tubes. These are a pair that I kind of keep for testing, that if something catastrophic happened, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And we're going to test this again. So we're going to bring it up to about 90 volts. And there we have 5 volts. We're bringing it up. We're bringing it up. And there's right at 120 volts, and we got 6.35 volts, which is exactly what we want to see. So we know now that we have the voltages set right for the input tubes, the two 6S and 7s, and the heaters are going to work just fine. And I look down here, and both the tubes are glowing pretty like we would want to see them glowing. The next thing we're going to check is the 5 volts going to the 300B tubes. This is being fed via DC, and there's two separate 6.3 volt windings coming off of the main power transformer. And I really think it's important to keep the direct heated triode heaters separate from each other. I know people sometimes wire these things up with a common transformer. Given that the cathode is actually the heater, I think it's important to keep them as separated as possible. And so in this amp, we have two separate heaters, two separate voltage regulators, two separate rectifiers, so that given that the cathode is part of the signal path, that there's no commingling between the two channels through the heater circuits. So first thing we're going to check and make sure we got 6.3 volts going to our rectifiers. And so we're going to, again, this circuit doesn't have a load on it yet. And so the voltages, at least before the regulators, is probably going to read higher than we want. And so There's 5.3 volts. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this up to 6.3 volts. Okay? Again, one hand behind the back when I'm moving these wires around. Also, I don't have the rectifier tube plugged in yet, so there's no B plus in the amplifier, but these two pins over here have 375 volts each, so there's still high voltage inside this amplifier. We just don't have the B plus DC going to these other components in here yet. So we go over to this pin. Again, we got 6.3 volts. So now we're going to test the DC coming out of these rectifiers. So we need to switch to DC, come over here, we have 7.5 volts DC coming out of that rectifier. And then we'll switch to this one over here. Be very careful not to short these out. And we got 7.5 volts coming out of that one. So next we're going to come over here to the 300B heater and see what we have coming out of this rectifier, coming out of this regulator. And just straight up 5.00 volts going to the heater, which is exactly what we wanted to see. What I wanted to point out too is this is AC wiring, and this is like wound a lot tighter. This is DC, and I basically just wound these together to make them neater. They're not canceling. There's nothing to cancel here because this is DC. So let's go over to the other 300B heater. We're going to move my meter over here. And then hopefully we see 5 volts over here. And just so you know, I'm checking this the first time. I have no idea if this stuff's going to work or not. So you're seeing it live here. And 5.0 volts. So these regulators are doing exactly what they were designed to do. And I'm going to zoom in here on one of these regulators and show you another thing that's important. Okay, these regulators require a capacitor across both the input and the output to ensure that they're stable. And to keep the value of these capacitors as low as possible, because I didn't like the idea of putting like a 100 UF capacitor across these heaters. This is a 22 UF tantalum electrolytic capacitor, and this is a 10 UF tantalum as well. And these have a real low ESR, and if you looked at the data sheet, they tell you you can use either a 22 UF tantalum or you have to use a 150 UF electrolytic. And these are just wrapped around the leads and soldered in place here. The regulator itself is bolted down to the decorative tube that's on the top. It's using one of those threaded holes as the clamp for it. Then there's an insulating little shim that goes underneath it because we want to keep this floating. It's not grounded to the chassis. It's a totally floating voltage supply because we're going to have to pull the signal off the cathode through the resistor and the bypass cap to ground separately. So this 5 volts has to be totally floating. So the positive out of the rectifier goes to the voltage in. The voltage out goes to one of the heater pins. and then the other side of the heater pin goes to what they call ground, but it's actually just the negative side of the rectified current. The other thing that I did, I know some people say that using DC on a direct heated triode can make one end of the cathode wear faster than the other. And so one of the things I've done in this amp is I've wired the heaters on one tube the reverse of the other, so that every few months I can swap the two 300B tubes to even the wear out on the cathode, so they wear evenly and use the tube up as fully as it can over time. The other thing I did was how I laid out the pin locations on these tubes. I put both the heaters on the outboard, and then the plate and the grid are facing in. And that way, the signal path between the grid and the plate of the driver tube is as short as possible. And over here, it's going to be even shorter. It'll be from here to here. And then the bypass resistor will go from here to here, and the same over here, the bypass, or the grid leak resistor, I should say, of the 300B tube will go from here to here. Yes, not the bypass, it's the grid leak resistor. Sorry about that. So anyway, that's it for the heaters. They all seem to be working great. I'm probably going to plug in the 300B tubes here in a minute and power everything up and look at the heaters all glowing and make sure everything's working. And then really all I've got left to do is wire up the heaters to this potentiometer on both sides. Then the center pin of this goes to the cathode resistor, which is going to be on the top side with the wires coming through here. Probably going to put a little 5-pin terminal strip here to tie everything together, because I'm also going to have to put the bypass caps right here. And then these are going to be run from the ground for these cathode resistors is going to be run from here with individual wires over here to our star ground point. And then we're going to be ready to power this thing up and start checking voltages. So, hope you're enjoying this video series, trying to go into a lot of detail so that people really understand the process and the steps you go through, like checking the heater voltages before you power up the B+ and put power to the plate, because you don't want to do that if the heaters aren't working right. Plus, if you've got a problem now, it's easier to diagnose, especially if you have a short or if it blows a fuse at this point. It's easier to find the problem when there's less wiring inside the amplifier than waiting till you get it fully, completely wired up, then have a problem, and you're scratching your head, where do I even start? And you have to start taking everything apart. So if you check things slowly, and I hope you'll watch my safety video, because I show testing the B+ on this exact amplifier, so you can see the process I went through on checking the power supply, making sure the rectifier is working, and we got the proper B+ voltage. So if you're enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I'll see you probably either later today or tomorrow to start working on checking the voltages and getting this thing fired up on the scope so we can see what it's going to do. Have a great day. Bye.